Alright, everybody, what's up? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast. I'm back with Garry.
Hello.
Perfect. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. Mostly, though, this is a very important holiday that will go down in infamy and memory for years to come. As it is Friday, April 4th, 2025, which means all of you are probably flocking to the theaters tonight to see the Minecraft movie. Yeah. I'm ready for it. Not really, but that's not why we're here. Though I am very disappointed that we have not seen any Minecraft movie paint schemes in NASCAR to promote the movie. Very disappointing, personally. But regardless, we move on. Martinsville's in the books. A lot of action at Martinsville, as there usually is. So we're going to go through all that, including a very, very, very heavy penalty weekend. There is some silly season news to go over as well, and including some big announcements and some shocking news as well. And then, of course, at the end, we will preview this weekend's action at Darlington. So, here we go. Martinsville. Typical short track action all throughout the weekend.
Hashtag race.
There were a ton of wrecks. Roulette spun. Lane Riggs spun. Norm Benning had a mechanical failure early on in the race, which was kind of sad because I wanted him to run well. He's old and there for the fun of it, and it sucked. Baldwin spun in stage 3 after a very clean stage 2, I might add. Corey Day wrecked, and then they both wrecked again later on in the race because it just couldn't get any worse for them. It just couldn't. Most of the night was dominated by Corey Heim again. That was until a flat tire became the demise of him, and he went spinning late, taking him out of contention after pretty much leading the entire race up until that point. So very, very devastating loss for the 11 team. There was a big wreck late in the race and a couple other chaotic restarts that collected. Taylor Gray and a bunch of other drivers. Leland Honeycutt and Ty Majeski got together late while fighting for the lead because the race became pretty much just free-for-all after Heim had his tire failure. So it got pretty insane there. And then but it was another one final chaotic restart. But in the end, Daniel Hemrick would prevail and score his first career Truck Series victory. Yay! Thrilling race, full of spins, big crashes, big action. It's what you kind of expect in Martinsville. So it was a good race for the trucks. But then for the Xfinity Series, we Corey Day and Jeb Burton getting together early in the race, both going around for a spin. Garrett Smithley went around. Connor Zilich and Brandon Jones got together in a chain reaction, which beat up both of their cars. Dean Thompson spun around. And then later on in the race, just a lot of beating and banging. Cars jumping the curb because they were taking the corners so tight. And that was causing a lot of problems. Lot of lost sheet metal that ended up just causing a caution in stage 3 just because somebody's sheet metal was so beat up it just fell off their car and they had to cause a yellow. Carson Quapple took a really hard hit to the inside wall, driver's side as well. Seemed like it hurt, but he continued on. Connor Zilic went around again. Cody Ware went around. Harrison Burton got spun. Dean Thompson spun again. Carson Quapple, after rallying from that hard hit, rallies up to the front, and then he gets spun out again, and ends up collecting Jesse Love in the whole mess. And then on the following restart, Christian Eckes goes around. Big wreck ensues. Morris Snyder, Nick Sanchez, a bunch of other cars were collected in it. And then a big stack up on the next restart after that collected Connor Zilic, Jeremy Clemens, and a bunch of others as well. So it was just a complete crapshoot of a late stages of the race. Matt DiBenedetto ended up spinning, which then set up a late restart. And this is what this is the big story of the weekend right now, coming from the weekend at least, with the finish of this race. Basically, Sammy Smith pulled an Austin Dillon and decided, I'm going to send it into turn 3 and I'm going to spin out Taylor Gray so that I can go through and win the race. And he did it, but at the expense of himself, as the chain reaction from the spin of Taylor Gray would cause a huge crash, taking out Sammy Smith among many others. And in fact, sneaking through in an ironic turn of events would be RCR's car of Austin Hill, sneaking through for the win in an overtime finish. It's pretty funny that an RCR guy started the first part of this at Richmond last year, and now the beneficiary of it here is an RCR car. That's pretty funny. But second win of the season for Austin Hill, and big tensions after the race. But we'll get to the penalties that came from this race because there are many of them. We'll get to that in a little bit. But then the Cup race, honestly the most boring race of the weekend, mostly because the next gen car still sucks on the short tracks. Though it wasn't as bad as years past. Chris Buescher spun late in the first stage, brought out our first caution. And then on the pit stops after that, Josh Berry and Bubba Wallace made contact, and it ended up damaging Josh Berry's battery. So he had to pretty much was out of the race after that, out of contention for the win at least, as they had to have an extended stop on pit road, and they were caught behind on the green flag, and just pretty much took themselves out of contention with that. Burt Myers had mechanical problems that took him out of the race in the second stage. That really sucked. Riley Herbst spun stage 3, and then so he went around. Shane Van Gisbergen lost a wheel after having already a pretty bad day. He was in the back of the pack for much of the day, but he ended up spinning out because of a lost wheel in stage 3. Ty Gibbs went around. He had another bad race. Joey Logano, while running for the win, got spun. And that was really the end of the cautions, as things really settled down after that. And at the end of the day, it would be an unexpected winner for Martinsville standard. Denny Hamlin, in just his second race with Progressive, puts on a show, dominating pretty much since the second stage, en route to his first win of the season.
Denny Hamster.
Drew? So maybe Denny's back.
Also,
maybe not.
Also, these people saying Denny Hamlin versus everybody. This ain't you ain't from Detroit, pal. All right. Let me just say that. Okay. The versus everybody thing is our gimmick, not yours. And no one doubted you. Okay? You're just a dick.
Yep, good one for Denny Hamlin. His first win with Progressive. He becomes the 15th driver to be locked into the New Year's Eve Spectacular this year. So pretty awesome stuff there. But also, we had a flurry of penalties coming out of Martinsville this weekend that we got to go over. Starting with the Truck Series. The only penalty from the Truck Series was Raja Karuth's team. They had a loose lug nut and were fined $2,500 as a result. The Xfinity was the big source of the penalties, however. First, Sheldon Creed was fined $5,000. Well, his team was fined $5,000 for a loose lug nut. Also, Taylor Gray and Jeb Burton were each fined $5,000 for violating infield care center regulations. Basically, they didn't really want to go in the infield care center, even though they had to, based off of NASCAR rules. That's been in place for a long time now, and they had some misconduct in the infield care center, so that is why the penalty arose there. And finally, Sammy Smith was fined 50 points and docked $25,000 for his reckless actions and the intentional wreck that he caused at the end of the Martinsville race, which dropped Sammy Smith from 6th in the Xfinity standings to 13th. So, pretty big penalty there. Yeah, so that was the big ones from Xfinity, and then also from the Cup Series, 2 crew members from Shane Van Gisbergen's team were each suspended for 2 races after the lost wheel. And Chase Briscoe, after finishing 24th, was disqualified for improper weight at the end of the race. So, after finishing 24th, he was disqualified. But that is it from Martinsville. A very, very, very thrilling weekend, full of action, and some big penalties. What you would expect, though, from Martinsville? I think it was a pretty good weekend all throughout. I mean, Christian Eckes, good winner, I think. Austin Hill, not the best winner overall. I'm not a huge Austin Hill fan, but he didn't do anything wrong as far as getting the win. So, oh well. And then Denny Hamlin, it's Denny Hamlin. But I don't know if you have any thoughts, Hitmaster, Gary. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
No, not for the Martinsville. I mean, I think NASCAR needs to look in at different rules about what is an actual purposed wreck and what is not. And if they do that, they don't need to just be fined. They need to be suspended for a couple races. Because they do it for the Cup Series. Because if you looked, Chase Elliott got suspended. What he did, Bubba Wallace that one time got suspended for what he did. So I think they should do it in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series to let drivers know, okay, if you want to be a big leaguer, you can't do this kind of stuff. And for safety protocol. But it's not the fans' decision, I guess.
No. Well, they gotta do what they gotta do. Anyway, that was Martinsville. Put it in the books. I'm okay. We got some silly season news to go over. Nothing crazy. Jesse Love is going to be making his Cup debut in the RCR 33 car at Bristol, coming up in here in a couple of weeks. He is planned on starting more races, though none other than Bristol have been announced. So, there we go. There was a change in kind of governmental positions with NASCAR. Steve Phelps has been moved to commissioner, while Steve O'Donnell, the previous commissioner, is now the president. So, feel however you want to feel about that, but it happened. Amazon Prime Video announced that they are going to be the sponsor for Kyle Larson on Memorial Day weekend when he attempts the double at Indy and Charlotte. So that is going to be what the car will look like.
So what you're saying is they're going to change Chase Elliott and now Kyle Larson. What's next? You're going to change Alex Bowman and William Byron?
Probably.
Give it to all the Hendricks. Heck, give it to Joe Gibbs. Like,
along with the sponsorship announcement, they also noted that they are working on producing a film of behind-the-scenes footage from Larson's attempt of doing the double. Funny story with this. This was supposed to come out last year. Then he didn't run Charlotte. So they're going to be showing... So they already have footage from that day. And like stuff leading up to that they're going to show. But they extended the contract so that it goes through this year's attempt at the double, which is in just a little under 2 months. He's going to be attempting that again. We're at the beginning of April. It's going to be the end of May. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's going to be. I'm definitely going to want to watch that just because of kind of the behind the scenes shit that went down with the rain, and kind of how that went. And it'll be interesting to see this year, one, how he performs, but two, how that will translate into a good movie/documentary sort of thing. And I have Prime Video, so I will be watching that for sure.
Did they already make like a rule of doing double duty? Like, does Kyle Larson have to be in the car before the race starts, and not like a backup?
I don't
like
think
they did
so.
Last year.
I don't think so. Thing last year is though he didn't even get in the car. Like he got to the track and then the rain hit. So that's why he didn't.
I mean, to technically be counted as playoff points, because I know people hated him in the playoffs because he wasn't there for a race, but like...
I think he just has to run. I don't know what the ruling is. I know they had to make an exception for him because he didn't even turn a lap in the Charlotte race, so...
True. Alright.
But yeah, that should be exciting. The final piece of news, though, just came out recently. There's another lawsuit happening. Not involving 2311 or Front Row Motorsports. Legacy Motor Club is suing Rick Ware Racing.
Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty, the 7-time champion, is deciding to try and sue Rick Ware Racing, a team that is so trash they haven't even won a single race in the Cup Series. Are you kidding me?
It's over a wrongful charter purchase. More charter shit. Great. Just what we need.
To be honest, if I was just Legacy Motor Club, I would have just let this slide, to be honest with you. This is Rick Ware Racing. They're not going to do good anyways. Just give them their hopes and dreams.
I don't know. It's a very odd choice to sue them. It'd be interesting to see if this is a very, very long, drawn out lawsuit thing that we've been seeing with the 2311 and front row stuff, as it is with those. But yeah, just an interesting decision. Also, don't be driving Richard Petty into this. He's only there because of the name. He doesn't do anything with the team anymore. He's well into his 80s. I think almost 90 at this point. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that man's dead man walking. That's strike one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It was a silent strike one for me. I was yawning.
I always get these strikes.
Well, don't get two more. Then you won't have to be kicked off the episode. There you go. But yeah, that's really all the silly season news or anything else crazy that I had. I don't know if you had anything else, Gary, or not.
There was one thing in the news that I don't know if you saw. There's another Deegan going to be a part of racing. Her younger brother is going to be racing in the truck series at Bristol. Don't know what truck yet. All I know is that now we have a Deegan and IndyCar, dirt bike, and truck. So let's see if he does better than his older sister. To be honest, he probably will, because Haley Deegan sucked.
True.
All he has to do is finish one top 10, and then he gets it.
Boom. There you go. Guys, it's tiring. Alright. Anyway. Now we can move on to our preview of Darlington. It is throwback weekend this weekend at Darlington. A lot of cool throwback schemes have been announced already. Surprisingly, there hasn't been more. A little surprised about that, but we should see a good amount on race day that we're going to be seeing out there on the track. But Darlington as well has become one of the more thrilling tracks as of late, kind of reasserting itself as one of the crown jewel tracks on the schedule, with the rough tire wear and tight racing that we see there, especially with the next gen car. So it should be some really good action at Darlington this weekend. I'm very, very, very thrilled. Granted, I probably won't be. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch, but I'm definitely gonna be able to watch the highlights. So,
what's your best throwback that they posted?
My favorite so far is Kyle Larson's throwback. The Terry Labonte 01 to 04 Kellogg's car. That's my favorite.
Everybody knows mine, so I don't need to say mine.
Yeah, you're a bitch follower.
What do you mean? I love Jeff Gordon, William Byron. Let's go. If he can win like back-to-back throwback races, that'd be dope. That one, technically, it should be bad. He should be on the verge of back-to-back-to-back. But no, Mr. Giggles Zagano had to wreck him on the final corner of the previous throwback race weekend. So,
anyway. So the truck series is off this weekend. So we only got Xfinity and Cup. So who do we think is going to win the Xfinity race?
Let me see here. Let me take a look at the entries for the Xfinity series. So, if I can find the entry. Oops. Entry list, there it is. You know what? I'm going to go with number 17, Chase Elliott.
I'm going with the Taylor Gray redemption race after the bullshit that went down at Martinsville. I think he's going to get it back.
And now it's time. Chickens. We'll start with you. I'm mixing them up right now. All right. And pick one out of the hat. You got the worst throwback of Hedrick Motorsports history.
I'm the king!
All right. Now for me. Let's see if I get William Byron.
Hey, he won the race last year. So there you go.
No, he didn't. That wasn't a throwback race.
He still won Darlington, so...
But it wasn't a throwback.
Well, take your wins or your losses where you can find them, is what I say.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I won Martinsville, so...
Yeah, shut up. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about my fantasy update. Yeah, we picked William Byron and he sucked. So...
Do you just pick any person that won from last year?
Maybe.
I do the same thing. I don't know who to choose, so I'm just like,
Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast. If you want to be a guest, all you got to do is join the thing and do the thing. You know what to do. Anyways, stay tuned for much more amazing content from me, Gary, right there. Until next time, see you guys later. Bye.